It's a business of good taste and elegance.
Being in Rustan was something different, and I couldn't realize that one day I'll be there. No? So it was like a dream come true.
Rustan's has genuinely been part of so many lives in Philippine society.
Because Rustan's is Rustan's. It's so identified with quality, with prestige. Rustan's is still at the top.
I would call it an oasis of quality and integrity.
It is the only premier department store in the Philippines. And it is the only department store where people, customers, who really want a good shopping experience, it's the place to be.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President and Chairman of the Board of the Rustan Group of Companies, Mr. Bienvenido Tantoco Sr., and his charming and enterprising wife, Blessy Tantoco.
Wow! Our service, really, we try our best to give the best service at Rustan at all times. But we give special attention to the products that we display and sell.
65 years ago, Glyceria Tantoco and Bienvenido Tantoco Sr. opened a small retail store that gained popularity among Filipinos who did not have access to the grand selection of products from well-renowned international brands. Little did the couple know that their humble business in San Marcelino was the beginning of Rustan's, the country's premier shopping destination for quality and luxury products.
Officially, Rustan's became a company in 1952. But I think the beginnings were before that. My grandfather, when he was 16 years old, suddenly lost his father. And at that moment, he had to take over becoming the head of the family. He would work at night and he would study during the day. Fast forward a few years later, he became the second most important executive in the company, and the owners of the company were so happy. They said, you know, Benny, we want to make one of your dreams come true. And he said that my dream is to travel the world with my wife. And in that trip around the world is what I would call the genesis of Rustan's. My grandmother, who was a merchant, she bought things that were not available in the Philippines. She went home with about 20 suitcases, and she felt, oh my God, 20 suitcases, this is a big investment. It'll probably take me this long to recover all the cash I paid for everything. Within 2 weeks, she sold everything. So she kept going at it. She would travel again, bring it. It kept growing. So the living room became a store, and then they lived upstairs. And as the business grew further, they had to move out of their house. The whole home became the first Rustan department store, and that's San Marcelino. From the very beginning, Rustan stood for quality. Rustan stood for trust. My grandfather and her came up with that slogan in 1952, shopping is a pleasure.
It was really a husband and wife effort between both my grandparents in the early days as they were building up the company.
I think the way the roles were shared is my grandmother really did the buying, so she was really the product person. My grandfather, who was trained in professional management, he would put up all the systems, the infrastructure. He was also very involved in marketing. The logo of Rustan's was done by a person who worked for him in the Rufino group of companies. Jesse Bello said, so if you like my idea of combining your first initials, it should be Tan Rus. And my lolo kept playing that name and he said, Tan Rus, Tan Rus. Oh, I don't get the feeling. Twist it the other way. And Rustan, he kept saying it, Rustan. So he went back to Jesse Bello and says, make it Rustan. Rustan sounds right.
Rustan's has always had as its vision to bring the best of the world to the Filipino consumer. We've always really kept our eyes open and kept our ears on the ground and really, lived the Filipino consumer lifestyle and the like to allow us to understand how things are evolving.
From one small store in San Marcelino to 5 major stores across the country, Rustan's has come a long way. After being listed in the Philippine Stock Exchange last 2014 and reaching 65 years this year, Rustan's further proves why it continues to excite the market.
What my grandmother did, where she really wanted to make a difference, is she wanted to make the best available and accessible to Filipino families, and it did so well so quickly.
Leslie Tanto. For one thing, she had very good foresight. We're just here, but she's ahead, way ahead, And I think it's her foresight that really made Rustan's what it is, with the help of the ambassador.
My grandfather created a philosophy and a conviction in him that the main role of a man is to protect and to empower the female spirit. If the female spirit is strong, it's alive, it's vibrant, he feels that growth, innovation can happen without there ever being loss of compassion. So that's how he trained us.
The Rustan Group of Companies is a family business at its core, with now 3 generations of the family working under the brand, with the 4th one incoming to continue the success and the leadership that their founders started.
Well, I'm 3rd generation in the family, so I really had experience working with the 1st generation and the 2nd generation. And it's been very good. I think the fact that we've been able to get to 65 years and have a thriving conglomerate is a big testament to the management style of the 1st generation and the 2nd generation.
Looking at what the retail industry is all about today, it's a highly personalized industry. And we've been fortunate, having been around 65 years this time, going through 3 generations now of the family business, and the 3 generations being highly exposed to the business. Likewise has allowed the family and the family business as a whole to really thrive and expand and come out with new formats, has always managed to stay at the forefront of the retail evolution within the Philippine market throughout our 65 years.
Rustan's had conquered the market of bringing internationally recognized brands to the Philippines, but this did not mean they had forgotten about the local talent.
As far as the department store is concerned, it's the one and only luxury department store in the Philippines today. We have a very strong beauty offer, a very strong home offer, and a well-edited fashion offer for men's and ladies.
One of the fastest growing part of the business is our very own. So that's Rustan's Filipiniana, our very own. It's continuing pretty much the legacy of my grandmother, wherein the best artisans in the country didn't have a market. She created that market for them, and my aunt Neddy, who's the CEO of Rustan's, is continuing to do that.
our vision or our motto as a group is to bring the best of the world to the Filipino consumer. Started by my grandmother, right? She brought the best of the Filipino to the world as well. Within our stores, we have a very strong offering of our very own. We likewise have a strong private label program led by Filipino designers, such as Criselda, who has been hugely successful.
Criselda Lontok has been under the Rustan's brand for over 40 years.
It was in the year 1974 when I first came in. Somebody asked me to work here as merchandise manager. And then from then, I was promoted to senior merchandise manager and then group manager. And then I became a foreign buyer and then a designer. Being exposed to fashion, and it's not only that kind of, not the ordinary kind of fashion. We have the imported brands. So it opened my eyes and I got a lot of training from them. Rustan's has helped me a lot. I owe a lot to Rustan's because it's the image that has been given to me. I am what I am now because of Rustan's, and I really appreciate that.
Rustan's had made a mark on the country's fashion industry, yet its founders wanted to satisfy even more markets, with the goal of making every shopping and leisure experience more convenient for Filipinos.
Retail is forever evolving. The consumer behavior is also forever changing, now more than ever, in fact, right? Throughout the past 65 years, we've always managed to evolve with consumer tastes and the like.
I think it's all about convenience and ease. Not just making the experience of shopping wonderful, pampered, exciting, inspiring. That's the emotional level. But there's also the functional level where you're saving people time, energy. Put the department store and supermarket in one place and be an oasis of quality. Be the mecca of quality across their basic needs, their aspiration, and their luxury. You've got that all in one place. You've got a really strong destination, and you are really supporting the lives of your customers.
Eventually, with the kind of merchandise that they had within the Rustan department store, and as the market then became more sophisticated and became bigger in size, the products that they had in the store were eventually now suited for or suitable for selling in other department stores, specialty stores, and other chains as a whole, and they developed a company that would do distribution work called Rustan Marketing Corporation. Then eventually, the family then said, look, now it was time to set up an operation that would focus on specialty stores. Thus, the SSI Group, or Store Specialists Incorporated, was born. And today, as far as the SSI Group is concerned, we trade over 100 plus brands, almost 700 stores nationwide. Between SSI and Rustan Department Store, which are completely complementary to one another, we are evolving our retail formats to take into account the changing consumer tastes and shopping behaviors.
With a vision to bring new and unique experiences to Filipinos, Rustan's introduced Starbucks to the Philippines 20 years ago.
In terms of bringing the best the world has to offer, in 1996, my grandfather was on a trip to Seattle, on a business trip to Seattle with my cousin Donnie Tantoko and Anton Huang, and they were able to set up a meeting with the people at Starbucks. And Starbucks is looking to grow its business internationally. It had not opened outside of North America at that time.
We want to be the best in understanding the Filipino woman. And of course, we noticed that Starbucks was becoming something that was very important to them. When we met Starbucks, we had such an instant rapport in terms of values. It's like, a partnership is almost like a marriage. So if you already feel very compatible and your values resonate with each other, you just want that partnership to happen, even though it was like coffee.
Yeah, I think in the beginning it was surprising, although honestly, I was a little scared, but I was very confident that Filipinos would love it because it jives so well with our habits and with what we like. You know, I think just the hanging out, being yourself, coffee. We were already coffee drinkers even before Starbucks came in, but it's not all about coffee. It's just about having a place where you can connect with yourself, you know, connect with others. You know, it's a meeting place, it's a place where you can study, and it's a place where you can connect with humanity.
Rustan's is at the top of the mountain in retail. After decades of success, Rustan's makes it a point to give back and show its gratitude to its customers and emerging artists.
It has a lot to do with education and the arts. Since my grandfather is a very devout Catholic and he was even ambassador to the Vatican, anything to support priesthood because, as we know, it's becoming less popular as a vocation.
My mother in particular leading the group and our advocacies really, she's been very focused on the development of art and culture and very, very strong supporters of that sector. That's been the case for several years now and continues to be the case for the foreseeable future.
Rustan's has been home to established and emerging designers alike. A new designer making waves is Portugal's Ricardo Preto.
What I feel strong in my relation with the Tantoko family, it's they all the time support art. You know, and a fashion designer, it's an artist. I express myself with fabrics. They believe in art and they believe in artists. So that gives me a big support to present all my drawings, all my prints, all my color patterns. To come here was the confidence that I have in the group and obviously in my CEO, Donnie Tantoko, and with the strong leadership of Madame Tantoko.
But I think the CSR of Rustan's, if I may stretch it, but this is what I really feel is fundamental to Rustan's, is the relationship that we have with our employees. It's the sense of responsibility that we feel we have for their welfare. The higher purpose of Rustan's when it comes to being a corporate citizen is to create and to preserve jobs. We want to be a job-generating, promotion-giving machine. We really believe that our employees were made present in our lives for a reason. And when your employees believe in what you're trying to do, they're behaving in a way that is aligned with the values of the company. They're the greatest protectors of the company. They're the greatest sources of growth for the company.
One such employee is Edna De Leon, who has been with Rustan's for 40 years.
I was looking for a job because my mom got sick with cancer. So I was looking for a higher paying job. And among the different companies that I gave my application forms to, it was Rustan's who called me the last actually. But that was actually, I feel that it's very providential because the first companies that took me in, my mother suddenly would always become very grave, ill grave, no? So I would not be able to join them. But by the time that Rustan's came to call me, my mother's situation was stable. So that's it. So I told myself that, well, probably this is really where the Lord wants me to be in the first place. That was in 1977, almost 40 years already from now, no? I've been working with now 3 generations of Tantokos, and each generation brings with them a lot of good ideas, no? Each one building on what the other one built, no? So I look forward now to the 4th generation. Well, I'm proud to be part of an icon in the Philippine retail industry. I'm proud to be part of Rustan's. When the time comes when I leave Rustan's, I'm nearing retirement already. You can say that you can take me out of Rustan's, but you cannot take the Rustan's in me. It will always be part of me.
We're really excited to celebrate our 65th Sapphire anniversary. This celebration runs across the whole Rustan group of companies, and we're basically celebrating 65 years in the industry. We have lined up events, a series of fashion shows, a exhibit that is dedicated to our foundress. So it's called The Many Facets of Glessy Art Tantoco. It's a dedication to our founders, as well as to our loyal customers and our partners who have helped us get here from day one.
After 65 years, Rustan's has mastered the secrets to good customer service, employee relations, and adapting to the industry's changing trends. As younger consumers come in, and with a market that is more competitive than ever before, Rustan's faces a whole set of new challenges.
I think the challenge for us right now is the formats that need to be reinvented and updated. We have to take a hard look at those parts of our business and evolve them into whatever is relevant for these times where you have online.
Consumer behavior is changing. We're completely cognizant of that. We're seeing that in our stores. We can now expand our online shopping options further. It's everyone's desire, and definitely ours, to become a strong, what you call, omni-channel retailer, giving the customers the option, giving the customers the choice on how they want to shop for whatever it is they need in their lives today.
Rustan's now is actually like a 65-year-old mother, but still reinventing itself, still being very vibrant, but it nurtures all the companies that it has given birth to.
Rustan's is an institution that has been there for 65 years, and it will continue to be there for another 100 years or more, you know, and of course, we really continue to give the service and quality that's expected from us.
After 65 years of satisfying consumers as a luxury brand, Rustan's hopes to continue taking care of its employees and supporters. It has proven its versatility throughout the years, facing challenges and defeating hurdles, and it remains consistent in its mission to bring joy, convenience, and the best of the world to every Filipino.
We are dedicated to our policy of giving service to our clients and customers. We would like very much to share with the Philippine clients of ours the best in the world.